Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, all honor and all glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Pomalak Yabushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach Pomalak Yabushai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the mighty men who may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwaf out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, married and unmarried, keeping the law, statutes, and the commandments, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. And shalom to everybody tuning in live. Ancient men, the children, HBK Int on a comment board, Don Israel, Kyoko Banyamyan, Daughter of Zion, Elijah Jones, T Sellers, Ancients New, Why Don't We, Calibway T, Anthony Knox, Lion of Judah, Break Bread and Build, Richard Perez, King Asher, Michelle Y, Renea A, Riga Next Israel, Yafei Israel, Eliab Ben Gad, Quadash, Zion, WFI Seattle, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. The topic of this cold cut is who is Satan? Who is the devil? Is it really the white man? Right? So we're going to go into this, go through the precepts and break it down so we may know who we deal with, what we're up. When I say who we deal with, I mean, and in terms of adversity, right? When I say who we deal with, I'm speaking about the author of confusion, right? All of these spirits that we deal with on the left-hand side have been created by Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, right? So the first thing to know about Satan is to know that he is one of the creations of Yahweh, right? Ba'ashim Yahushai. The Lord hath created all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. All of these things are written for our learning, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 4, right? Let me show the screen. First, we're going to know every aspect of Satan so that we may know how to deal with him and deal with this spirit and what his purpose is. And Satan is not going to like this video, right? The prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience, right? Let's go to the book of let's get this precept first. I'm gonna send that out. Right, let's go to Revelation chapter 4 and 11. Right, let's get this real quick. This is the book of Revelation chapter 4 and 11. Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. So all things include the mountains, the trees, the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, the fishes, the creeping things, spirits, righteous angels, wicked spirits called demons, Satan, Asmodeus, right? Michael the archangel, Gabriel, flesh and blood of man. The Lord has created all things. Satan did not come from some dark abyss of hell, and he has opposed the Most High God. Satan did not create himself and invade the Most High's world, right? And invade the Most High's supreme creation from some other dimension. Satan indeed was created by the Most High God. Why? It says, for thy pleasure they are and were created, right? And this was the Lord decided to create Satan. You may say, well, why would he do that? That's mean. Well, you don't know the Most High, right? You have to know the law. The law requires a just balance, right? That's order with the Most High, to have good and evil. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 45 and 7. It reads, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So the Lord makes peace in his high places. The Lord makes men have peace treaties and covenants amongst each other, and bonds and relationships and friendship. And the Lord also creates evil, strife, murder, right? Wickedness, rape, robbery, Satan. I, the Lord, do all these things, right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs, right? That's what you call a just balance. You can't just have all this good and all these righteous angels and not have evil angels. And that's what Satan is. Satan is actually an angel, an evil angel created by the Most High. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. So the Lord is not just going to have all of these demons of lust, pride, variance, and strife and confusion, and then have no offset or just balance. Because where would the love be? Peace, right? Where would the humility be and meekness, right? And counsel. You have to have a just balance. You have to have the Israelites. You got to have the Edomites. You have to have the heavens. You have to have the earth, the sun, the moon, day and night. All of these things provide a just balance with one another. So when the Most High created these spirits, he created them, right, with good and evil. Let's go to Revelation 12:9. Right, let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9. Right, actually, I want it's like a Hebrews. Right, let's go to Hebrews, the 12th chapter and verse 9. It reads, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? So one of the titles for the Most High God is he is the Father of spirits. And that's every spirit. That's my spirit, your spirit. That's spirits of pride, like we went into earlier, right? Spirits of murder, right? Spirits of repentance, spirits of doubt. Every spirit that's created has been created by the Father. Satan is actually a spirit because angels are spirits. You may say, well, I thought you said he was an angel, but then you said he's a spirit. Well, guess what, brother or sister? Angels are spirits, right? Let's go to Psalm chapter 104. Let's prove it. This is Psalm chapter 104 and verse 4. Who maketh his angel spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. So Satan is actually an angel created by the Most High God. He's one of the chief angels, one of the top angels ever created. Because remember, there's rank and order with angels. One of the names of the Most High is the Lord of hosts. That word host, it means armies. He's the God of armies, whether that's in heaven or in earth. And with any army, there's rank and order. Amongst men and flesh and blood, you have generals, captains of thousands, captains of hundreds, tens, officers of 550, officers of 5, soldiers. Don't you know everything that's done in the earth has been done in the heavens? So there's an order with the angels. You have higher ranking angels. You have lower ranking angels. You have angels that report to other angels. Then you have a chief angel that reports to the Most High. Right, let's get an example of a rank and order amongst the angels. Right, let's go to Zechariah, the first chapter. Right, this is Zechariah chapter 1 and verse 7. Let's see if this is what I want. Bear with me. Okay, Salakia. Okay, this is Zechariah chapter 1, right? And verse, this is what I want, Salakia. Zechariah 1 and 7. Upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month Sabbat, and the second year of Darius, came the word of Yahweh unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo the prophet, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse. And he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom, and behind him there were red horses, speckled and white. So you have one chief angel. That's this man riding upon a red horse. It's not an actual human. It's a spirit. And you have other angels behind him, right? Red horses symbolizing angels that cause bloodshed and violence in the earth. Speckled horses, they symbolize angels with various responsibilities and who can perform various tasks, and they are not relegated to one office. Speckled horses can cause good, speckled horses can cause evil, right? They can do whatever the Most High wants them to do. And then you have white horses, which symbolize righteousness, protection, peace, piety, and holiness. These are plethoras of spirits that are under the rank of this particular spirit who was sent to cause judgment in the earth, for lack of better terms. This is an angel of judgment, right? Red, and I'm not going to do an in-depth breakdown on all of the horses and etc. Right? We've done that in time past, and we may do another breakdown. It's not to say we may not go into it in the future, right? But just for sake of time and edification's sake, this is an angel of judgment, right? Does he have an actual name? Is his name Chris? Is it Devin? Is it Steve? No, it doesn't say, right? It's an angel sent out by the Most High to execute judgment on the earth with these various spirits. And then said I, O my Lord, what are these? And the angel that talked with me said unto me, I will show thee what these be. So he's going to break down what this is. And the man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, these are they whom the Lord hath sent to walk to and fro through the earth. And that's a term often equated with the angels of heaven. They walk to and fro through the earth. Some angels kill people. Some angels protect people. Some angels walk to and fro through the earth, and next thing you know, there's a wildfire or an explosion, or somebody gets bit by a wild beast. And some angels, their job is to inspire you and protect you and show you things in the scriptures or come down in dreams. And that's their job. That's the operation of angels. Satan also walks to and fro through the earth. We'll read about that later in the book of Job, the 2nd chapter. So that to and fro lets you know that these are angels. All right, let's get a precept on that. That to and fro. Let's go to 2nd Chronicles chapter 16. 2nd Chronicles chapter 16 and 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro, there's that to and fro again, throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars. So that's what the prophet Hananiah told Asa, because Asa was going off. And the Lord said, the eyes of the Lord are the angels. Like if somebody say, look, I need you to be my eyes and ears. That means I need you to see and report it to me and hear and bring it back to me. So the angels see everything in the earth. They go to and fro. They're watching this live, right? They see you in the dark. They see you when you're committing lewdness and freaking off. They see you when you're praying and repentance and doing great works in the eyes of the Most High God. They're his eyes, and they report. And this is going to tell you, we're going to go into Satan too. These angels report what you do to the Most High. As part of his army, that's called recon. All right. What is recon in the army? It's when you gather intel, right? You gather information. That's what recon is. So there are angels sent out throughout the whole earth. And if you're righteous, the Most High is going to do what? He's going to show himself strong in behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward them. So once that angel bring a report back to the Most High, say this brother's righteous, this brother's keeping the commandments, he's on fire, he loves his neighbor, his house is in order, he's diligent. The Most High sees that report and says, all right, I'm gonna show myself strong towards that brother. Right? Here, increase that brother. Right? Give that brother more wisdom. Give that brother more knowledge. Give that brother hope. Actually, matter of fact, keep that brother in the book of life. Do not blot out his name. I'm going to show myself favorable towards this man because his works are perfect. Right? Then the angel is dismissed and the angel goes and keeps reporting what he does on earth, right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 15:3, right? So Satan is an angel that also goes to and fro through the earth. Proverbs chapter 15:3, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. See that? So they're in your room, your bathroom, they're at your job, right? They're in these concerts, they're in these weddings, right? They're all over. They're in every place and they're watching the evil and the good. So that's what these spirits are doing, right? It says in Zechariah 1:10, and the man that stood among the myrtle trees, right, answered and said, these are they whom the Lord hath sent to walk to and fro through the earth. Now, the myrtle trees represent Israel at a lower state. You may see cedar trees in the Bible, right? You may see men likened to cedar trees or the cedar of Lebanon, right? Or palm trees. That means exalted and high. Myrtle trees are low, right? I believe it tells you that as we read on. So this is really in the night symbolizing Israel in a lower state and a time of judgment. And the Most High sent these angels to and fro through the earth. And they answered the angel of the Lord. So these angels who was going to and fro through the earth, they reported to another angel. You see that? And they, meaning those other angels, answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sitteth still and is at rest. And we have done our job. We have judged who you wanted us to judge. We have protected who you wanted us to protect. We have killed who you wanted us to kill. We have saved who you have wanted to save. We have done our job. The earth sitteth still and is at rest. There's no tumults. There's no pride of man. We have executed thy judgments on the earth. Right? And this is not the only account of angels reporting to the Most High. Right? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, the 9th chapter. Right? Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 1. He cried also in mine eyes with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. So there are certain angels that have one responsibility, right? These are actually 6 angels, because 6 is a number equated with destruction or imperfection and even sin. So there are 6 angels who are responsible for killing the wicked amongst our people. That's what this means, cause them to have charge over the city. Charge is responsibility. And as you find out, these are slaughtering death angels. So there are a set amount of spirits that are created to kill the wicked of Israel. And they have charge over Jerusalem. The Lord said, I'm going to give you the responsibility to kill the wicked. He said, I need y'all to come. I got a job for you. I want you to put a hit out on this guy, on that old man, that young baby, that child, that woman, and that ancient man. Here's a hit list. Go get it done. He said, cause them to draw near, even every man with this destroying weapon in his hand. So certain angels had a battle axe. Some had 2 knives. Some had a dagger. Some had that ball and mace. Some had, damn gloves with spikes on it. They had weapons in their hand. Right? And behold, 6 men, meaning 6 angels, came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north. And every man a slaughter weapon in his hand, and one man among them was clothed in linen, with a writer's inkhorn by his side, and they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. So one of them was a top angel. This angel got the writer's inkhorn. He marks who's wicked, and he marks who's exempt from judgment. Right? So there's all types of spirits. So they have 6 angels, but one of those angels, he's the top guy with the writer's inkhorn, right? And the glory of the God of Israel was going up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. So he called that top angel. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city. Right? So he said, you other angels, right? While he's setting the mark upon the men, you other 5 angels, right? Go ye after him through the midst of the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Right? So they started killing people. Now here's what happened after they were done. Ezekiel 9 and 11. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me. Like any good captain would say, any officer would say, I have done as thou hast commanded. He reported the matter. He brought a report back. Here's how many people we killed. Or we killed this many women today. Okay, we killed this many it's like your souls of babies. Okay, this many maids, this many men. I have done as thou hast commanded me. These angels reported their matter. They reported to another angel. That's on the right hand side and on the left hand side. Right? So Satan is one of the higher angels. And he was created by the Most High. And he has other angels that work under him. Let's go to 1 Kings, chapter 22 and 19. 1 Kings 22 and 19. And he said, hear thou therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. So Micaiah saw the Most High God. On his right hand side are the righteous angels, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, spirits of repentance, spirits of loving kindness, spirits of mercy and pitifulness and courteous behavior, and spirits of correction. All of those spirits on the right hand side. And he saw spirits on the left hand side. Those are spirits of murder, pride, evil, deceit, fraud, discord. And the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another on that manner. So the Most High said, hey, look, I got this wicked king. I want to kill him. What's the best way to kill him? One angel said, hey, look, I'll do this. Most High sitting up there on the throne like, nah, that ain't it. Another angel said, well, I'll do this. Maybe I'll have him break his neck. Most High said, nah, that ain't it. Then another angel came up, and there came forth the spirit, and they're all giving these suggestions on how they're going to kill this guy. And there came forth the spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? Meaning how? And he said, I will go forth and will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also. Go forth and do so. So these angels, they take direct orders from the Most High. The Most High didn't correct him. How come when this angel said, I'll be a lying spirit? Right? How come the Most High didn't say, thou shalt not lie? You're wicked. Go to hell. Why would you say that to me? And Christianity, how do they explain this? The Most High condoning a lying spirit. Because the Most High created the lying spirit. He creates these evil spirits to kill this guy, man. Right? So we got to know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and know that the Most High has angels on the left-hand side. Now, lower angels, they're called devils. That's another name for demons is devils. There's not just one devil, right? With a red fork and horns and things of that nature. Who lives in a fiery place called hell. Right? There are multiple devils. Any demon is a devil, right? Let's go to James chapter 2 and 19. Thou believest that there is one God. Thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. So it says devils plural. Let's go to that word in the Greek, because it said the devils also believe that there is one God. So they don't believe in no Trinity, right? They don't believe in, okay, you got one God here, God the Son, God the Father. No, they know the order. They believe. So these devils believe in the Most High. They don't fight against the Most High, right? There was no war in heaven, right? We'll show you where that came from. They didn't try to overtake the Most High. Let's go into this word devils, plural. And I believe that's where you get the word demon from. Let's actually pull that up. Right, let's actually pull that up. Let's go to the word demon. Okay, an evil spirit, malignant supernatural being, an incubus, a what? A devil. From the Latin, demion, meaning spirit, from the Greek daimon, deity, divine power, lesser god, guiding spirit, tutelary, deity, right? Damion, divider, provider, to divide. Now here's what we want. The malignant sense is because the Greek word was used with demonion, and Christian Greek translations and the Vulgate for God of the heathen, heathen idol, and also for unclean spirit. Let's see, let's read on. Jewish authors earlier had employed the Greek word in this sense, using it to render Shedem, which is lords or idols, in the Septuagint and in Matthew chapter 8 and 31 has Damians translated as Dilfo in Old English, fiend or devil. So the word demon goes back to the word devil. They mean the same thing. So when it says the devils also believe and tremble, it means the demons. Devil and demon are interchangeable words when you know Greek, Latin, and etymology. Right? So here's the word for devils: the divine power, deity, divinity, a spirit as being inferior to the Most High, superior to men. Here's what you really want: evil spirits or the messengers and ministers of the devil. It didn't say a devil, it said the devil, because there's a top demon, and they are messengers and they work under the devil. You have devils and then you have the devil, right? So that's what that's going into. A lot of men say, well, there's just one devil. No, you have many devils, but you have the devil, the top demon created by Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua, right? Let's get another precept on that. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20. It reads, but I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. So you can't have fellowship with these demons. People that are into, and I'll give you a modern day example, worldly holidays, they fellowship with devils, demons. Because what is Christmas about? Lust, idolatry, right? Satanism, pride. What is Thanksgiving about? Devils, meaning demons of murder, deceit, confusion, rape, robbery. So you can't be in these festivities, ceremonies, and feast days with these demons. I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Remember, devils and demons are interchangeable because those are the spirits that sit at that table, right? You may say, well, that's just my auntie. No, that's a devil. She got a devil on her. She got a devil on her. Well, what about my grandma? She's always cooked the mac and cheese, and she got a devil on her too, man. And that devil is blindness, idolatry. They all have devils. You cannot fellowship with these demons. Stop looking at them as flesh and blood. These are devils, right? We're going through these precepts. Let's go to St. Mark. Right now, we tackling the word devil. Then we're going to get directly into Satan, right? Outside of him just being a spirit that goes to and fro, right? St. Mark chapter 1 and 32. And that even when the sun did set, they brought it to him, right? Meaning all of the Israel, right? They brought to Yahushua all that were diseased and them that were possessed with devils, right? And all the city was gathered together at the door. And he healed many that were sick of diverse diseases and cast out many devils and suffered. Now, here's something about these demons and suffered not the devils to speak because they knew him. Oh, so what does that mean? That means these demons know Yahushua. Right? You may say, well, why does the Lord know a demon? Well, guess why? Or guess what? Yahushua created these demons up in the spirit world, up there in the third heaven. These demons know the Lord, man. They know the rank and order. It's only man that don't know the rank and order. These demons, they check in with the Most High. And they know that Yahushua is the son of the Most High. All of the angels know that. Yahushua told these demons what to do. He said, hey, look, shut up. You better not say nothing. And guess what? They didn't say anything. They said, we got to follow order. Because one thing about demons is they follow order. Spirits follow order. Like in Ezekiel 9, they say they didn't get emotional. Oh, the Lord wants us to kill maids and little children. They didn't get emotional. They follow order. They don't have the flesh and blood to go against order. These devils said this is what Yahushua said. Hey, guess what it is? What it is. We're not going to speak. They knew him. These demons know the Lord, man. Because Yahushua created them. Is it not written? Let's go to the book of Colossians. Right? That Yahushua actually created all of these demons. Every spirit was created by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Colossians chapter 1 and verse 16. For by him, meaning for by our Lord Yahushua, Hamashiach, Wamalak HaTazadak, were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things. So Yahushua created all of these demons. And by him, all things consist. So Yahushua created Satan. He created Michael. He created Gabriel because the Most High told him to do so. All things in heaven have been created by the Most High through his son Yahushua. And these demons are nothing different. When they were created, they were given order by the Lord. I want you, you're going to be created and you're going to do this. You're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to do this. Right? And they follow order, man. I mean, that's about it. Let's get one more of these devils. Right? Let's go to St. Mark chapter 5 and verse 1. And they came over unto the other side of the sea and to the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. So this man had a devil on him, or a demon. That's another name for an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. So this guy had a heavy demon, right? Because really only a demon would want to make you dwell amongst dead bodies. Dead bodies are unclean. If you touch a dead body by law, you're unclean 7 days. So only a demon would drive the image of God to be unclean and make him dwell amongst tombs and cut himself to tar and destroy the image of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and his likeness. But now check this out. So you had this heavy demon. They tried to bind him up. They tried to tame him, and he was kind of get off of me and pushing them against the walls and breaking free. But one thing is different. But when he saw Yahweh Shai far off, he ran and worshipped him. So these demons worship Yahweh Shai and cried with a loud voice and said, what have I to do with thee, Yahweh Shai, thou son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. Right? I adjure thee. That's like we went into that on a Sabbath service. Right? The word adjure, let's pull this up. Right? Let's go to the definition. To urge or request solemnly or earnestly to do something. Right? I adjure you. So they'll charge you. They'll order you. By God that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. All right, so that shows you that these demons work for the Lord. Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew. Now, dealing directly with the spiritual demon Satan, Satan is the top demon. There's no greater demon in the proverbial food chain, for lack of better terms, than a spiritual demon Satan. Right? Now you can say, no, I'm a demon. Right? I'm the top devil on the earth. And well, what about this demon? And what about that demon? Well, guess what, brother? There's no greater demon than than Satan, man. And Yahweh Shah created him. Now check this out. This is the book of, see, Satan try to get you in your words, man. Right? How you slip with the tongue, right? But this word is going to go out, man. And Satan is to and fro too, man. And his demons, right? St. Mark chapter 12 and verse 22. Then was brought unto him one possessed with a devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him, and so much that the blind and dumb both spake and saw. So check this out. When you're blind or dumb meaning you can't speak, right? You can't speak. Now, these health infirmities we're seeing now are caused by devils. But they don't tell you that in the as you get your white coat and become a doctor. They don't tell you that in nursing school. Why is he blind? Why is he dumb? Well, that's because why can't he speak? Why can't he see? Well, those are devils on those people. Rather, it was the will of the Most High on them. Rather, it's for judgment. Rather, it's for faith that the Most High may heal this individual and that you may believe. Nevertheless, these devils actually can cause physical infirmities. A demon can do that. A demon could work in your physiological structure and manipulate the body parts and cause ailments on you. Those are demons on you. Again, they don't tell you that at Harvard or in Yale, so they don't really understand anatomy because they separated from the spiritual world. And healthcare and these pharmacies are nothing but witchcraft and sorcery. They're actually giving you more devils, right? We know that pharmacy goes back to the Greek word pharmakeia, which means witchcraft and sorcery. So as you take these pills, what they call potions, right? And these prescriptions, which we call a concoction, you take it, and now you have all of these devils on you. Because they have 1,000 side effects. Man, you take something for your head, and now you have kidney disease. Now you're blind. Side effects may include blindness, dumbness, failed speech, organ transplant, even death. And they say all of them, they name all them demons. They spit them off in about 10 seconds, man. And Jake, you ignore all of those devils that can hop on you and lust after the so-called white man. You know? So these devils, they do many things. They don't just, it's not just the red man, like I said, man. And nowhere in the Bible does it say the devil's a red man underground. And we're going to show you where that modern day image of Satan came from. Why is he red? Why does he have horns? like a goat and feet like a goat, right? Why is he in a fire? All of that is just fables and mythology. Nowhere in the Bible does it give a clear description of Satan. In fact, all of the angels that are described in the Bible are likened unto having bronze skin or burnished brass skin, right? That's how the angels look. They're made in the image of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. There's no account of Satan being red. The only ones who's red is the so-called white man on earth, and we'll talk about him too, right? Because you may say, well, I thought the white man was the devil. You're only talking about spirits. Well, guess what? I'm not going to beat around the bush. The white man is the devil. I'm not going to wait 30 minutes or 50 minutes or so into the lesson to tell you that. The white man is the devil. So if that's what you wanted to know, and that's why you clicked on this, hey, guess what? He is the devil. He is Satan. Right? We're not going to tarry any longer. I'm just going to put it out there. Now, if that upsets you, if you're all in your feelings, you're bent out of shape and you're cringing, something makes me sick and you're throwing up, hey, well, look, man, we're going to prove it. Right? We're not just going to rest on our words. We're going to let Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua be true, right? And every man a liar. But nevertheless, it says in Mark 12:22, then was brought unto him one possessed with the devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him, and so much that the blind and dumb both spake and saw. Verse 23, and all the people were amazed and said, is not this the son of David? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this fellow doth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. So who is Beelzebub? Right? Now this goes back, but all, right, to meaning Lord or Lord of the Flies, right? Which is really an alternative name. Let me zoom out. Another name for the spiritual demon Satan, right? If you go to Beelzebub and go into this word, Lord of the house, a name of Satan, the prince of evil spirits, right? So another name for Satan is he's the prince of evil spirits. Because remember, there's rank and order with the angels. Your top angels are called princes. Your chief angels are called princes. Right? You have many princes, many top angels, and Satan is one of those top princes. Satan is high in the command chain of the Most High, believe it or not. Who else is a prince? Well, Michael. Michael's a prince. He's a great prince. Daniel 12:1. Right? And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So another title for Michael, Mayaka Al in the Hebrew, which means who is like God or like the Most High. He's a great prince. But Michael's an angel. So you can see how certain angels are called princes. Right? Let's get another precept. Let's go to Daniel chapter 10. Princes is an alternative name for chief angels. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 10 and 13. It reads, this is what one angel said to Daniel. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now, when you read this account, Salaki, bear with me. When you read this account, Daniel was fasting and praying to the Most High. And the angel came to him. But the angel ran into a roadblock. The roadblock he ran into was a demon. The Most High sent the demon to stop this angel from coming into Daniel. Right? Now, this shows you that, right? You may say, well, that's strange. Why would the Most High do that? Doesn't sound like my God. Well, guess what? You don't know the Most High. My God wouldn't send a demon to stop another angel because, well, look, Daniel 10 and 12. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel. Listen to what this angel said. For from the first day, meaning day one, that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God. Thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. So day one that Daniel prayed, that angel heard that, wrote it down, brought it up to the Most High. The Most High heard those prayers. So go answer that man prayers. Go deliver this message to him. While that angel went, the Most High sent to another angel, hey, look, guess what, though? I want you to stop that angel, right, from going to Daniel. And guess who could do that? The Most High. For your learning, to understand how the spiritual world works, and to understand that you could be praying for something, and guess what? An angel could be coming to hear your prayers, but Satan might be there trying to stop that angel from hearing your prayers. So you got to keep praying to have more faith. So he's going to tell you what happened and why he didn't come day one. He came over 20 days later to Daniel because he ran into some traffic, some spiritual traffic. Here's what happened. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me, but he was against me 120 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. So this demon is not talking about a man. A man can't stop an angel for 21 days. How in the hell could a man stop an angel from 21 days from coming to Daniel? Well, with his mind, what kind of, no. There are spiritual things going on in this life right now. So the prince of Persia is talking about the spiritual force and the demon that the Most High set over that empire. Right? You have different top demons set over different kingdoms. So when there's witchcraft going on amongst the Persians, sorcery, these are all demons. Demons of witchcraft, demons of charmers, enchanters, necromancers, familiar spirits, spirits of idolatry, spirits of lust and pride. They all check in with this top prince. And his job is to operate and oversee all of the demons that are underneath him in Persia. And he saw that angel coming to Daniel, said, hell no. Because remember, Daniel was praying for deliverance. He said, nah, I got too much power going on right here. The Most High sent me to stop you. But then the Most High also said, hey, look, Michael, right, it's time. Time is up, right? Michael has power over all of these angels. Michael, in fact, is over Satan. Michael has rebuked Satan, right? He has actually rebuked Satan. So Michael could tell any of these demons what to do. He could tell Satan what to do. And he could stop a top angel from doing what he wants to do. See, Michael is third under the Most High. It's the Most High. Okay, it's Yahweh Shai. Then it's Michael. So the Most High sent Michael and said, all right, the beef is up. Cut it out. So Michael came and kind of did something to this other angel. And that other angel went back up to the third heaven. And that angel that was supposed to come to Daniel came to him 20 days later. But you see that these top angels are called princes. The Egyptians had a prince, the prince of Egypt. And I'm not talking about the top demon that resided over all of the other demons that worked on the minds of the people in Egypt. There was a demon of Babylon. There's a prince and a demon that was over the Greek Empire. There was a top demon over the Romans. There's a top prince over Babylon. Let's jump down. Daniel chapter 10, let's read about that. And verse 20. Then said he, so this is what that angel said, knowest thou therefore why I am Slakia? Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I am going forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. So there's a lot of things going on in the spirit world. right? When empires are cast out, it's a result of that principality being cast out. So it's not as if when Alexander the Greek defeated the Persians, it wasn't just flesh and blood. The Most High actually removed that demon. He has an angel removing that top spirit from out of its position of power and replacing that spirit with another prince. So there's a lot going on in this spiritual world. And all of these top princes of Persia, Prince of Grecia, they all work under Satan. He's the prince of devils. But I will show thee which is noted in the scripture of truth, right? And there is none that holdeth with me in these things, but Michael, your prince, because Michael's the prince over Israel. So when you go back to this account, they called Yahushai Beelzebub, which is the prince of the devils, because they knew that Satan was over all of these other princes, over all these other demons. He's a top spirit. All right. Now I want to make sure I got these precepts right. Let's go on in the book of Matthew. Right, St. Matthew chapter 12 and 24 again. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this devil or this fellow doth not cast out devils, Salakia, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So if I'm using spiritual power, how can I cast out Satan? Basically, if I'm using demonic power, if Satan is working in me, how am I able to cast out these devils? But he made a point right here. He said, how shall then his kingdom stand? So Satan has a kingdom. Satan's kingdom is this earth. This is his kingdom right now. Right? He's the top man in charge. Just like the Prince of Persia, that was his kingdom. And he worked under Satan. Right? Or you can say that's just another name of Satan. Either or, the adversary. The word Satan just means adversary. Shaitan in the Hebrew. Why is he called the adversary? Because he opposes truth and things that are upright and honest. He is wholly set at opposition. He has been programmed. You can't change Satan's mind. You can't send him to reformatory school, night classes. Okay, Satan, you're going to work in the day. Okay, but you're going to take night classes on how to be right. And then Satan kind of show up with a notepad, show up with a pen. You say, look, this is commandment 1, right? And you show him, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And Satan writes it down. Says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Then you write down second commandment. Then Satan writes down the second commandment. Okay, then he takes a quiz and okay. No, man. You can't. Hey, this is his kingdom. And he's running the show here, man. Don't you see all of the sodomites, the freaks that work with him, the revilers, the extortioners, the murderers, effeminate men, and blasphemers? These are all spirits that work on these men, and they work for Satan. He has a kingdom, right? And his minions are these demons that's working in the minds of these people. And Satan's top ambassador is the so-called white man. You see, the so-called white man is a physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. He's Satan in the flesh. Because anything that's happening in the spirit world is going to happen in this terrestrial world, and this realm that we live in. The realm that we live in is the terrestrial realm, right? Or this dimension. Some men may use the word dimension. Right? You live in this dimension right now with flesh and blood, and you deal with man. Then there's another dimension or another realm, a spiritual realm, and you have things that are going on up there. Right? Let's go to Ephesians. So Satan has a kingdom. He was given power by the Most High to rule this earth and evil. One of his titles is the God of this world. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 3. Right? It reads, I'm gonna start 2 Corinthians 4 and 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. So if you can't get this gospel, the Lord said you're lost. He's going to go into it. In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. So who's the God of this world? The God of this world is not talking about Yahweh. The God of this world is talking about Satan. He runs this world, this realm. And who gave him power? The Most High. Just like the Most High gave Esau power. Is it not written in Job 9 and 24? The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So Satan is using the so-called white man. And the white man loves Satan. He has been created. There's a spirit inside of the so-called white man that's attracted to Satan. Why do you think these satanic temples, these so-called white men, they get horns, they split their tongue? They want to get all types of demonic. They're the son of Satan. And we are the sons of God. They are the children of the devil or the children of the wicked one. But Satan is the God of this world, man, believe it or not, right? He's the prince of this world. Let's go to John chapter 14, right? John, he can actually blind you. We read that in that verse. In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them that believe not. So anybody that can't get this truth, guess who did it? Satan has sent demons go blind that man. Did we not just read that there was a man blind and dumb? And there was a devil that caused him to be blind. So when people can't get this truth, there's a demon blocking their spiritual mind from getting this truth because the Most High don't want them to believe. Right? So Satan is used to have people oppose the truth. Right? That's one of his offices. One of his offices is to send demons on people to get them to oppose what's upright. Now, this is the book of John, chapter 4 and verse 30. Here's another precept. Hereafter, I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. Who's the prince of this world? Same thing as 2 Corinthians 4 and 3. The God of this world, or the prince of this world, hath nothing in me. Because guess what? Everything that Satan is about is the exact opposite of what Yahweh Shah is about. Right? Yahweh Shah is about repentance and truth. Satan is about sinning and lies. I have nothing in me. Right? Exact opposites. Both of them are spirits, where both of them rather are sons of God. But Satan works on the left-hand side, Yahweh Shah works on the right-hand side. He is called the prince of this world, or the God of this world. Right? Now, let's go into some of his jobs. Right? What are some of the offices? Right? We read that he blinds you. And that's really his main job. Satan's main job, he has multiple offices. First is to cover the truth through deception. Right? First, to cover the truth through deception. That's his main job. That you can oppose what's upright. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 28. Ezekiel chapter 28 and 11. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me saying, right? And nowhere in the Bible does it say Satan's job is to have a pitchfork. Where is this at? Pull this up. Where's Satan with a pitchfork? Right? There is no account of Satan having a pitchfork, and his job is to poke you while you burn forever. Look at this madness. With sandals on. Right? With a six-pack. There's literally no precept. Look at this. And again, we're going to show you where this came from. See that trident that goes back to, this goes back to Greek mythology. Our people's understanding of Satan goes back to Greek mythology. It's not a Hebraic or it's not an Israelite understanding. It's not a Semitic understanding of spirits. It's a direct influence of the so-called white man's understanding and lies of the Most High God and his creation. We're programmed to believe, oh, that's Satan. You might as well say Jesus is a white man. And Yahushua is a white man. I mean, both of these images are deceptive. Right? Let's pull up this. These images are equally deceptive. I mean, this one is worse. We get it. Look at this. Look at this. Right? Oh boy, what did I do? Okay. This image, right, wants you to fear. See, this is madness, because what the so-called white man does is have you believe this is love, and you love the white man, and you bow down to him, and he died for you. He's coming back to save you, and he gave you hope, and you could be who you want to be. You can come as you are, and you can love everyone and hold hands and freak off and be a child molester and be a murderer and be a freak and a bug out. And he just loves you. Oh, he just loves you so much. Right? That's this image. But this image is really Satan, the adversary, because this opposes the truth. And you're taught to fear some made up image of Satan when really you should be fearing this image. See, people are taught in Christianity as sorcery. Oh, I don't want to get poked by the devil. Oh, that looked like Satan. Well, this is really Satan. So he created two images. This guy is that's why we say the so-called white man is a deceiver. The word devil also goes back to the word deceiver. Right? That's what it goes back to. So really, people, when they think of Satan, you should be thinking of this image and not having your mind warped up on some mythological creature that he created that you could fear this guy. You're looking for this bad guy all day, but the bad guy is on your mantle. The bad guy is at your church. The bad guy is hanging up in your grandmother's house. The true Satan, he's hanging up on your necklace. He's on the cross. He's on the chain. He's on your bracelets. He's on your license plate. He's a bumper sticker on your car. He's in the Hollywood box office movies. But meanwhile, every day you live a life of sin and murder, lies, extortion, and evil. Or try to live right, because you don't want to run across this guy. You hold the door for old ladies, right? You pick up trash off the floor. You give money to your pastor, right? You kiss the cross because you don't want to run across this guy. So this devil is all about lies. This one of his greatest jobs is to deceive and cover the truth. Let's go back to that. We're going to read about it in the Bible. Ezekiel chapter 28 and 11, right? Right, Salakia. Ezekiel chapter 28 and 11. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and said to him, Thus said the Lord God, thou stillest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Right? So this is really on a deeper level going into Satan. Now, when you read the prince of Tyrus is going into the so-called white man, right? We've read this account who says, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not the Most High, though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High. So this is a man. The prince of Tyrus is a man who thinks he's God, who has a godlike complex, who pretends to be the son of God, who pretends to be the Most High God, who is the Pope, who pretends to be Peter and John and James and Andrew and Thomas and Mary. He wants to be everything holy. He wants to be the angels, right? So that's talking about the prince of Tyrus. Esau. But then you have a king, right? The king is the father of the prince. So if the prince of Tyrus goes to the so-called white man, the king of Tyrus on a deeper level, it's going into his father, the devil, right? To prove that the so-called white man's father is the devil. I mean, there's a lot we can go into. Let's go to 1 John chapter 3 and verse. Actually, I'm gonna hold that. We're gonna hold that. But let's read this, right? Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord God, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Now, this is going directly into these the Most High's creation. This angel. Now, a lot of people say Satan was up there playing the organ, up there in heaven, right? You may have heard that in Christianity. Satan playing the organ or piano, right? We'll say organ. They teach that in Christianity. Some denominations of Christianity indeed teach that Satan was in charge of playing music, right? He was actually up there playing music. That's why people ask these questions, right? Was Satan in charge of music in heaven? There's no account of Satan being in charge of music in heaven. I mean, Ezekiel 28 tells you where that came from, but it's not talking about he was playing music in heaven. That's people's it's just the lack of understanding when it comes to the Bible, right? It's not talking about him playing. Look at this. A chisel. Look, this is madness. Many modern audiences are used to seeing Satan as a chiseled, handsome man, right? So, I mean, this stuff has to stop. It has to stop. Satan being thrown out of heaven, right? Why was Satan thrown out of heaven? You may see something that Satan fought against God. Why did Satan rebel against God? He then sought independence and rebelled against his divine plan. And so they don't understand what's going on, right? One minute he's a chiseled buff man. Next minute he rebelled against God. Next minute he was up there playing music in heaven. Then he took angels with him. We're going to cover all of that madness came from and tell you the truth about Satan, right? We first of all, we're telling you that he's a spirit. He's not a literal man. He's an actual spirit. Now, when it says, thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom, perfect in beauty, this spirit was created in perfection. All of the angels were created in perfection. All right. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee, and the day that thou was created. What does this mean? Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Well, when you go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter, Satan was there in the mind of the serpent. Right? He was there to tempt Eve. Satan is the tempter. He was in Eden. He's the one who was working on the mind of the serpent to influence Eve to partake of the nation's philosophies. Let's actually prove that he was in the Garden of Eden. So now we're kind of getting deep. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. So the serpent is not talking about an actual snake, right? If we did a Genesis chapter 3 breakdown. If you want to go more deeper into the serpent, who the serpent is, where he came from, it's really talking about a man. But Satan was working on the mind of this man to tempt her. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So he tempted her with a question. But you can't eat that? You're not supposed to eat of every tree of the garden? That's how he tipped the woman out with the, who said you can't wear pants? Show your body. Be independent. Be all that you can be. You don't need a man. Who said you really need a man? God said you couldn't eat shrimp. The Most High said you can't get blonde hair. Where is that? Show me that. That's Satan. But you should not eat of every tree of the garden. You could do this. Who told you can't do that? Oh boy, trying to hold you back. The Most High trying to hold you back. He don't really want you to have all of this power. You have power. That's how you get the so-called black woman. You don't need no man. You're a powerful, independent black woman. Here, we'll set you up. We'll give you a degree. We'll give you a high-paying job. We'll give you food stamps, government assistance, loans. You don't need a God. You don't need a man. Because a man, an Israelite man, is a God. Right? You're powerful. You're strong. You're the woman. What's that movie they made? God King, Woman God, King, whatever that movie was, man. You know what I'm talking about with the so-called black woman, man. Woman God, right? Or whatever movie that is, man. Right? Woman King. What is that movie, man? Right? Woman King. Okay, that's not it. The woman. Right? You what movie is that? Woman King, right? The Woman King, that's what it's called, right? The water. Try to check the comment board out. I keep showing me that, right? So that the woman, right? You don't need a true man. Yahweh Shah is not your king. You're the woman king. Hath God said you need a king? No, you are the woman king, right? That's the serpent, the tempter. That's why Ezekiel, Satan put those same tactics on Yahweh Shah, right? This is the book of Matthew. It's like I went Matthew the 4th chapter. Hey, Satan was in the garden. Satan was in my house. Satan was at camp. Satan was in your room. Satan is everywhere. He was in Eden too. He's everywhere. If you understand. Right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 4 and verse 3. And when a tempter, it's another name for Satan, because his job is to tempt you, that you can go off and have you do things that the flesh wants you to do. His job is to help you feed the flesh. Right? That's his job, to make you satisfy your flesh by enticing you and seducing you and persuading you to do evil things. Things that sound good, things that may seem right. That's his job, to make you do that. Right? Came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. So his job was to tempt him. And again, like we always say, Slakia, him telling Yahweh Shai to turn stones into bread during a 40-day fast could tempt Yahweh Shai. But that cannot be tempting to me or you. Satan will not come to me or you and say, command that these stones be made bread. Because guess what? We can't turn stones to bread. So that's not tempting to me and you. What Satan can do is he can come to you because he knows what is tempting to you. All right? So the way he tempts me, he may not tempt you. Okay? So he was in the wilderness. He was also in Eden, the garden of God. He was there. Right? And let's read more about Satan. Every precious stone was thy covering. So a covering that Satan had is about to be explained. Right? Because you put a covering on so people don't see what's behind you or underneath you. So Satan is really about sin and confusion, but he has a covering. And his covering is what? The sardius, topaz. Hold on. The sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. That's his covering. Now, if you know the law, then you would know that these stones are the same stones that the high priest would wear. Now, the high priest is the standard and the epitome of righteousness and truth, who is the closest individual to Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua at this time. Nobody is closer to the Most High God than the high priest. But Satan is coming off as if he's in that same spirit. And that's what it's saying, to tempt you. Now, let's actually prove that. Right? One of the stones, let's go to Exodus. I believe that's the 30, it's like a 28 chapter. That's what I want. Right? It's a 39 as well. This is Exodus chapter 28 and 17. Here's the high priest, what they would wear. Right? If we look up the high priest, high priest breastplate, 12 stones, you will see the stones that the high priest would wear. All right. So if you saw this, you know it was righteousness, truth. Okay. Now, if we look up the high priest's garment, he would have these stones. 12 stones, right? Keep in mind, 12 stones for perfection, right? 12 stones for completion. 12 stones for perfection. Satan has stones too. He has the sardius. Let's see if we can find the sardius, and we went through this before, amongst the high priests, right? Ezekiel 28 and 17, or Exodus, Salakia 28 and 17. And thou shalt set it in settings of stone, even 4 rows of stone. The first row shall be a sardius. So the high priest has sardius. Spiritual demon Satan, he has sardius. So you might think, oh, well, just they're in the same spirit. What's the next stone? A topaz and carbuncle. This shall be the first row. So the first row of the high priest is sardius, topaz, and carbuncle. Let's go into the spirit. What does he have? He has sardius, check, topaz, and carbuncle. Those are his stones. Ezekiel, it's like I keep saying that, Exodus 28 and 18. And the second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. That's what the high priest had. Emerald, sapphire, and diamond. Let's match it up with the king of Tyrus. Let's see. Diamond. Okay, emerald. All right, and sapphire. So now they seem to be the same person. You would think that the king of Tyrus and the high priest are the exact same. And the third row, right? Exodus 28 and 19, a ligure and a gate and an amethyst. Let's see if we can find ligure, a gate, and amethyst. Okay, let's see. Sardius, topaz. Well, guess what? It's not there. You don't find ligure, a gate, or amethyst. You gotta scratch your head. Well, hold on. Why is this covering missing 3 stones? It seemed like it's the high priest stones, but it's missing 3 stones. Well, let's check the 4th row. In the 4th row, a beryl and an onyx and a jasper, they should be set in gold in their enclosings. So now we're looking for beryl, onyx, and jasper. Well, let's put it back up. Let's see. Okay, we got beryl, we got onyx, and jasper. But why don't we have 3 other stones? See, the high priest has 12 stones. The spirit has 10 stones. 9. Right, well, let's count. Okay, so like we got sardius, topaz, diamond, beryl, onyx, jasper, sapphire, emerald, carbuncle, and gold. So they have 10, but the high priest has 12, which means that this covering of Satan is coming off as if he is in the image of God, but it's really deceit. It's not a complete covering. Just like Christianity, it seems like it's righteous, but it's really not, right? They have songs in there and drums and music and prayer, and you think that it's righteous. You would think that it's the way of God, but there's really freaks and bug outs and adultery going on in it. That's why this covering of Satan resembles that of a high priest, right? That's why it says in 2 Corinthians that no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Let's read that. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 13. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. So Satan will transform himself to make it as if he's righteous, as if it's the way of life. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Right? That's why things that man wants to do, it seems right, but it's really the way of Satan. One of his jobs is to deceive you and transform into an angel of light and have that fake covering. What else does Satan have? It says the workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. So this is where they get the concept of Satan being a lead musician. It's not talking about Satan was playing the tabrets and the pipes and he was, no. This is where Greek mythology comes in, where they get Greek mythology and Pan, who played the flute, and all of that goes back to this, and Satan was playing the organ. What it's really saying is that Satan was created with a particular purpose, to influence man with the song. It's not a real song, right? It's talking about his job is to seduce you and entice you. See, there's two types of songs. There's a song that the 144,000 have. Let's go to Revelation 14. And that's the song you're hearing right now, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm part of 144,000. I'm talking about the truth, right? That's the song you're hearing right now, right? Revelation chapter 14 and verse 2. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne. So there are spirits up there. They have harps. They play music, but it's not talking about actual music. This song is talking about the truth. And you hear the song. That's why you kind of, and you know the lyrics. Like we always say, you kind of tapping your feet to this song, kind of nodding your head, right? You kind of on rhythm, huh? You love this song. I mean, it's always on repeat. You read every day, you study. Turn up, right? Turn it up on your, the headphones. You love this song. This is the song on the right-hand side that was prepared in these spirits in the day that they were created. They were created to have these harps to send out a song, for lack of better terms, which is symbolic for this truth. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, meaning these angels, these spirits, and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. So that's the song on the right-hand side. But there's also a song on the left-hand side. Who hears this song? The 2/3. The so-called white man, the Moabite. When I say the so-called white man, you know I mean the Edomite, the devil, right? The Ishmaelites hear this song. All of the nations, they're inclined to hear this song. Satan was given tabrets and pipes. Other spirits were given harps. Both of them have a song in the day that they were created. One for righteousness, one for wickedness. No man knoweth that song that Satan sings except the wicked. And they dance to that. That's why they freak off, man. They're popping mollies, right? They're sodomites. They're They're sick, evil men, like the brother said. They're murderers, right? And I mean, heinous thieves and Sabbath breakers and blasphemers of the Most High God. So Satan's job is to put out a vibration, for lack of better terms, to hop on people through demons and cause you to dance to the beat of the world. Another thing about this spirit, it says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God, thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. So it says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. So the Most High created Satan to cover the truth. That's what it's saying. To cover you from getting to the Most High. That's what a cherub does. A cherub is a type of angel. And this type of angel stops men from seeing Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. Remember, on the Ark of the Covenant, there are two cherubs. Let's look up the Ark of the Covenant. On the Ark of the Covenant are two cherubs. And their job is to have forth wings to block you really from seeing the Most High or accessing or seeing the mercy seat and the spirit of the Lord that will rest upon the mercy seat. Because the spirit of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua will come down to that mercy seat. And the angels are set up to block you, right? You're not going to see the Lord. And that was on the Ark of the Covenant, but it's also in the third heaven, right? It's also in the third heaven. So let's get that in Psalms chapter 80. Psalms chapter 80 and 1. It reads, give ear, O shepherd of Israel, thou that leadest Joseph like a flock. Let's see something about the Most High. Check this out. Thou that dwellest between the cherubims, shine forth. The Most High dwells between the cherubims. And the Lord dwells in thick darkness. And that thick darkness essentially is influenced by these cherubims, right? It tells you in 1 Kings, the Most High dwells in thick darkness. But now David is saying, shine forth. Come out. Let me see you. Save us. Deliver us. Because those cherubs bring darkness and cover man from seeing the Most High. Right? Let's actually prove that. I want to get that in 1 Kings and it's in Exodus 19. Right? This is 1 Kings chapter 8 and 12. Then spake Solomon, the Lord said that he would dwell in thick darkness, meaning you can't approach the Most High. He's covered, right? And those cherubims cover the Most High, that you may not see him. That's why, again, on the Ark of the Covenant, there are cherubs that cover. Their job is to provide a covering. That's why in Ezekiel it says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. Because you serve the same purpose as these spirits in the third heaven. Your job is to cover the truth and fill the face of the world with lies. That's his job. He's the anointed cherub. He's been created and sanctified to cover man from getting to the Most High, right? By influencing man to create religions and doctrines and going the way of the flesh. Even in the time of Genesis, right? Let's go back to that in Genesis. One of his jobs goes all the way back to Genesis. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 23. Therefore, the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So Adam was exiled out of the garden because the Most High didn't want him to eat up the tree of life and live forever. But here's what the Most High did after he drove out the man. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and the flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So the Lord has spirits. See, a cherubim covers the truth. It's really going into Satan, who was the anointed cherub that was in the Garden of Eden. We read that in Ezekiel 28, thou hast been in the Garden of Eden. He's the anointed cherub in Genesis that covereth. Satan's job is to turn every way, to keep man from the tree of life. That's his job. So that's why this world, this world is ran by Satan. Because no matter where you go, you can't go to the tree of life. You can't access this truth. You can go to school, you can go to church, you can walk down the street, you can turn on the radio, you can read the newspaper, you can get on your phone, you can go on social media. It's a slim chance that you're going to find the truth because Satan's job is to cover it. He is the anointed cherub that covereth. And what? And I have set thee so. So the Most High created him to do that. He didn't do this on his own will. The Lord made that his office. That's his responsibility. One of Satan's responsibilities is to cover the truth. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 25. And he uses the so-called white man to do so. Isaiah 25:7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the what? Of the covering cast over all people and the veil that is spread over all nations. So there's a covering. That's why nobody knows who they are. Or you got Moabites calling themselves Chinese. You got Edomites calling themselves French and Dutch. You got Arabs calling them, or Ishmaelites calling themselves Arabs. Nobody knows what's going on because there's a covering done by Satan and his demons. And there's a veil of darkness spread over the earth by the anointed cherub that covereth. That's Satan's job as an angel. And the Most High made him that way to blind men and provide that darkness. And he uses an instrument called Esau to have these doctrines and religions and politics to create that covering. So that's one of his jobs. Now, there's another precept I want to go to, right? I have these precepts written down, right? That's his job to cover. Now, that's why, again, in Job, it says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not wherein who is he? Now, Satan, like if we pull it up right here, here's the question. Why does Satan have hooves and horns? Because again, if we look up Satan, so we covered that he doesn't play the organ, right? He's not a man of music, right? If we pull up Satan again, he does have, they always show him with horns. Okay. This is what they teach you. That's what they teach you. Okay, Salaki, bear with me. Okay, Salaki. So when we go back to this, Satan, now we're going to get into the image of Satan. We know his job is to deceive, to cover, right? Influence man to sin, to tempt, to be the adversary. He's a chief angel, right? The Most High has given him this earth. That's his kingdom. But why does he have horns? Some images show him with goat's feet, man. Why does he have a trident in his hand? Why is he in a fiery place? This all goes back to Greek mythology, right? And Egyptian philosophy. It goes back to the Greeks, which ultimately, a lot of their gods they got from Egypt, right? The Greeks were heavily influenced by the Egyptians, so it all goes back to heathen philosophy. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 1. Nowhere in the Bible does it say Satan have horns. Let's see if I can find it. Satan horns. Okay, it's not in there, right? Nowhere in the Holy Bible does it say Satan has horns, a pitchfork, hooves, right? I mean, it's not there, man. We just got to stop. And there's no place called an eternal place of hell in the Bible. All of that is heathens and their misunderstanding of the biblical text. 2 Peter 1:16. For we have not followed cunningly devised fables, when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty. So that's a cunningly devised fable. People took time, craft, sleight of hand in the spirit, wicked works to create a narrative that Satan has horns. He's a red man with a goatee. Like I said, certain images. Right? Let's see, goat feet. Certain images got Satan with looking like a goat, man. Right? He has goat feet. Look at this. Goat horns. He's red. And we're going to deal with this. We're going to deal with why he has horns, why he has a trident in his hand or a pitchfork, why he's red, right? And cover, well, where this image came from. Now, ultimately, it goes back to the Greeks, which goes back to the Egyptians. There was a god our fathers worshipped in Egypt, right? Let's go back to this. Let's go to Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. When we were in Egypt, our people worshipped a plethora of gods, right? Let's prove that. Let's go to Joshua chapter 24, right? This is Joshua chapter 24 and 14. Here's what Joshua said. Now, therefore, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. So Joshua knew, he would know, because he came out of Egypt, that our forefathers were serving other gods in Egypt. Right? We were serving, how do you think we had the golden calf? We came out with the golden calf. We were there for 400 years, man, plus. What do you think was going on? What happens with our people, man? You think America is the only time that we've been serving the gods of Egypt? No, we were doing that back then. Joshua said, put away the gods which you served on the other side of the flood, right? That's talking about the time of Abraham, Laban. They was all serving them, not Abraham, but Laban. All of those men were serving gods, false gods. But it says, and in Egypt. So in Egypt, we were influenced by gods, right? So-called gods. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 23. Right? Ezekiel chapter 23 and 3. And they committed whoredoms in Egypt. They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the teats of their virginity. So our sins start with us serving gods in Egypt. In our youth, while we were becoming a nation, we were serving gods, false gods in Egypt. Right? And that's something, we don't really talk about as a people, man. Stop thinking that when we came out of Egypt, the golden calf was our only thing that was just random. We knew about that. We saw how the Egyptians was getting down. We're a people prone to follow the ways of the heathen, to hide amongst the trees of the garden. We committed whoredoms in Egypt. Joshua said we were serving gods in Egypt. And Ezekiel chapter 20 goes into it. Right? Ezekiel chapter 20. Right? This is Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 5. Right? Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 5. It reads, and saying to them, thus saith the Lord God, in the day when I chose Israel, and lifted up mine hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt. When I lifted up mine hand to them, saying, I am Yahweh, your God. Right? So this is talking about a time when we were in Egypt before Moses, because they already knew the name of the Most High during the time of Moses. Moses didn't come and tell them, I am Yahweh, your God. Moses said, when I shall go unto the people, and he asked, what is his name? What shall I tell them? Right? And the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt, into a land that I had espied for them, flow with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, cast ye away every man the abomination of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. So this isn't talking about during the time of Moses, because Moses never told us to cast away our abominations in Egypt. Right? Moses didn't come back and say, look, okay, put away this, put away that, that wasn't Moses' ministry. So there was a warning from the Most High, whether it's by a prophet or by angels, to tell us while we were in Egypt, like we read in Joshua 24, that we were serving gods in Egypt, or Ezekiel 23. The Lord sent a prophet or angel, it doesn't really say, but we were told to cast away our abominations while we were in Egypt before the Most High brought us out. Then it tells you what happened. But they rebelled against me and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish mine anger against them, or my anger against them, in the midst of the land of Egypt. So while we were in the midst of the land of Egypt, the Lord told us to cast away our abominations, but we rebelled against him. We want to do our own thing. We want to follow the ways of the heathen, right? And follow our own heart. But the Lord said, all right, I'm going to destroy y'all while y'all are in Egypt. While y'all are under the hand of Pharaohs, I'm going to cut y'all down. Then the Most High said, oh, look, I'm not going to do that, right? It says, but I was wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were. Because we dwelt amongst the Egyptians at this time, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, and bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. So the Lord said, look, I'm not going to destroy y'all. I'm going to bring y'all out. I'm not going to pour my fury upon you in the midst of the land of Egypt. Right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring you out. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of Egypt. Because our people kept serving these gods, man, in Egypt and doing what we wanted to do. That's what Joshua was talking about. That's what Leviticus 18:3 is saying. Right? Leviticus 18:3. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Our forefathers knew about these gods in Egypt. One of these gods in Egypt, right, goes back to the golden calf. Right? We all know about the golden calf that was made. Exodus chapter 32 and verse 4. And he said, and he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he made it into a molten image or a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So why would they know about a golden calf? Because they knew about these gods that they were serving, that the Egyptians were serving in Egypt. Now there's another, when you go to Leviticus, the 17th chapter, right? Leviticus 17:7. Here's another warning. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. So we were sacrificing unto devils. Now, when you go into the Hebrew, and you have to go into the Hebrew, this word devils, right? It says Sawyir, right? But if you got a concordance, it's H8175. It says hairy, he buck. The word literally means hairy, or it means he buck or buck. So we were he goat or a buck. So that word double in the Hebrew actually goes into a goat-like creature, right? That we were sacrificed to in Egypt. Because remember, the Egyptians had all these so-called gods after different animals, right? They had gods that looked like birds, that looked like dogs, right? Like I believe Anubis, and they had these cat god called Bes, and they had Horus who looked like a falcon or an eagle. They had all of these gods that looked like a calf, right? And then there was this god that looked like a goat in Egypt. We're going to go into it. Satire may refer to a demon-possessed goat-like, right? Like the swine of Gadara. So there were goat-like gods and animals that we were sacrificed to, right? Shaggy, noun, a he-goat, by analogy, a fawn. In Egypt that our fathers sacrificed to, goats, calves, false gods. Now, one of those goat-like gods, when you look it up, this is why Satan has horns, right? We're going to go into it. This is why Satan has horns. Because the Greeks had a so-called god named Pan. Pan, let's pull up Pan. Pan goes back to the Egyptian god called Mendes, which is a goat-like creature god. Which is a goat-like, that's why it's all on the Baphomet. It has become the modern day image of Satan, the goat of Mendes. Mendes is an Egyptian god, right? When you look it up. This is why Satan has those horns. Now the Greeks took that so-called image of the Egyptians and made their own god called Pan. And that's why Pan resembles an image of Satan, right? So when you pull up Pan, let's pull this up, see if they got some images. Pan looks like Satan. How the modern image of Satan is. So your modern day image of Satan goes back to Greek mythology. That's where hell goes back to. It goes back to Greek mythology, but it also goes back to the Egyptians, Mendes, which was a god that our forefathers knew about in Egypt. Right? That's how you know this is Egypt all over again, because that same God is here again. That same Satan, that same spirit is back in Babylon the Great. It's all over again. So Satan doesn't actually have horns because there's no account of that in the Bible. From Genesis to Revelation, 0 accounts. But you got to kind of dive into it, right? You got to dive into it through the inspiration and spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Now, again, that goes back to the Greek god Mendes, right? The goat of Mendes goes back to the Egyptian god, right? And that's where you get your modern day head of Baphomet from, right? Now, let's pull up Mendes. Okay, Mendes, here it is. Mendes is a city, and here's the top god, or the god of Mendes. The chief deities of Mendes. Now, this is a lot where our forefathers was, man. If you look up where Goshen was, let's see if we can pull this up. Where was Goshen? Goshen Bible map. Look at this. All right, hold on. Land of Goshen. So let's look at this map. Where our forefathers dwelt in Egypt was the land of Goshen. If you look up now where Mendes is, which was the city where they served this god, it's literally, hold on, where is this at? Let me close this out. Look at this. Land of Goshen, right here. So they served this God. Our forefathers knew about this God because that was their top spot where they would serve this God. We had Israelites in these cities that knew about these gods. We knew about that golden calf. We knew about the god of Mendes, which is actually called, starts with a B. Let me pull it up. Our forefathers, we knew about those things, man. And they picked up a lot of those customs. That's why Joshua says, stop serving these gods in Egypt, man. Same thing in Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. Because you're really serving devils. You're serving Satan. You're serving demons. Now, their so-called top god in Mendes, let's pull this up, was a ram deity, Banjadet, right? That's where you get those horns from, right? That's why they call it the goat of Mendes, or the ram, right? Because it goes back to having that horn, right? That's where those horns come from. The goat of Mendes goes back to the so-called god of Mendes. That's why Satan has these goat-like features. It has goat-like features and characteristics. Often you will see Satan with goat-like features and characteristics, because ultimately that goes back to Egypt. But again, the Greeks, which were ever so influenced by the Egyptian way of life, has taken their symbol, right? This is the Greek god Pan, who literally looks like the Egyptian god. And I don't even like saying his name. What is this name? Banjadet. Banjadet. The Greeks took that and they got it and they made it into a so-called god named Pan. Now, Pan, all right, so we're kind of going into this. In ancient Greek religion and mythology, Pan is the god of the wild, shepherds, and flocks. Rustic music. That's why they say Satan was playing that music. They don't know what's going on. And impromptu tusk and companion of the nips. He has the hindquarters, legs, and horns of a goat in the same manner as a fawn or a satyr, right? So it goes back to this god, and I believe there was another Egyptian, let's see, Egyptian goat god, right? I believe this is another one of their so-called gods who look like a goat, right? You have to go to Mendes, right? You have all of these goat-like gods of Egypt that our father served. See that? Hold on, let me go back. Right, that's why it says in Leviticus 17:7, we sacrificed unto devils. It's really going into an actual creature that we were sacrificed to, this so-called goat, like the golden calf. We would bring an offering and dance for the golden calf. Then you add one for the goat. You have one for the falcon, the horse, right? So we knew about these so-called false gods. Now, when you go back to this, dealing with Pan, in the form of a fawn or satyr with his homeland in rustic Acadia. And we put up the image. It resembles the modern image of Satan, right? So it reads, identifications with Satan. It's an article of Pan. Pan's goatish image recalls conventional fawn-like depictions of Satan. The similarities between conventional representations of Pan and the devil were observed by the occultists Aleister Crowley and Anton Zandor the latter of whom is said in the Satanic Bible. Here's what they said in their own wicked Satanic Bible, just ungodliness. Many pleasures revered before the advent of Christianity were condemned by the new religion. It required little changeover to transform the horns and cloven hooves of Pan into a most convincing devil. See that? So they took the horns, the hooves of Pan, but Pan goes back to that Egyptian god. Pan's attributes could neatly be changed into charged with punishment sins, and so the metamorphosis was complete. So that's where Satan, that horn-like creature, comes from that so-called god, right, of Egypt and the Greeks. Another feature of Satan, right, that they show you. So stop believing Satan has horns. It's not in the Bible. It goes back to the heathen culture, right, and their lifestyle that they was worshipped. That's what the Mosai said. Let's get the classic in Jeremiah 10, right? It says, let me see how much where I'm at with time. Okay, it says, learn not the way of the heathen. Jeremiah 10 and 2. Thus said the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. So Satan also, when you look him up, has a pitchfork. Now the pitchfork, we covered the animal-like creatures, features, right? We know where the horns and that comes back to Pan and the Greek god, the Egyptians, and this Poseidon goes back to Greece too. That goes back to the so-called Greek god of the underworld named Poseidon. If you look up Poseidon, so-called, they mix it with Poseidon and Neptune. So you have Poseidon with the pitchfork. Now let's look up Hades. Hades is also another so-called god, right, with a pitchfork in his hand. So-called Greek god with a pitchfork. Nowhere in the Bible does it say Satan has a pitchfork, right? But that ultimately goes back to the Greeks, because they had a so-called Greek god of the underworld named Poseidon with a pitchfork in his hand. Always with a pitchfork. Christianity has adopted that lifestyle, see that, and made them a so-called god that goes back after the Greeks. Right? But nowhere in the Bible does it say Satan has an actual pitchfork. Right? It goes back to the Greeks. These are the fables that they taught. They call them Jewish fables. Let's get that in. I believe that's 1 Timothy. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Salakia. Let's actually get that. I believe that's 4. Well, doing it again. Salakia. Okay, Titus, like it. Titus 1 and 14. Not giving heed to Jewish fables and the commandments of men that turn from the truth. So when you're thinking about Satan, stop thinking about red horns, right? Stop thinking about a pitchfork. He's going to poke me with a pitchfork in a place called hell. Stop thinking he's a red man. Now that red ultimately goes back to what's written in the text, man. Because the scriptures describe Satan as a red dragon. Let's pull that up. That's why you have that red, right? This is Revelation chapter 12 and 9. Or 12 and 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. Then in verse 9 it says, and that great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan. So they always liken Satan into being red and the devil to being red because it goes back to the Bible. Which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth and his angels were cast out with him. When it says this is red, the devil is red, it's talking about the so-called white man, right? When it says Satan is red, it's not talking about a spirit. All of the angels have burnished brass, right? Beards, etc. But the devil and Satan is red because who came out red? Esau. Esau came out red. Let's get that in Genesis 25. Right? Genesis chapter 25 and 25. Esau is the one that came out red. Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So that's why he's red. All right, so we're just going through these strongholds so we understand exactly what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with mythological creatures that torment you in a place called hell. Satan actually works for the Most High, right? He's actually an ambassador for the Lord. Job chapter 2 and 1. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. So when you present yourself before somebody, you work for them. All right, he worked for the Most High. He's one of his top agents, one of his top hitmen. Okay, so we're covering with something else. Here's another thing about Satan. His job is the accuser. Another one of his offices is to, when these spirits bring up your sins, he charges the Most High, says, look, he's guilty. Kill him. Right? And the Most High says, well, yeah, he did go off. I do have to kill him. Look, he's been a sodomite. Stone him. Right? Most High, well, he did be a sodomite. Gotta stone him. His job is to accuse you. That's what he did to Job. Right? He says to Job, what did he say in Job? Let me actually get that. He tried to accuse Job to the Most High. Job chapter 2 and 1. Let's just go to Job 1. We'll deal with Job 1. Job chapter 1 and verse 7. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Actually, I'm going to start at 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God, meaning the angels, came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. So Satan is one of the sons of God, one of the top princes. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Meaning, where are you coming from? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro on the earth, from walking up and down in it. So he goes to and fro and puts spirits on people and tempts people and causes confusion and sin and darkness. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Here's Satan's response. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? So Satan's job is to kind of make you look bad, man. Look, he's sinning. He's going off. Right? And that's why he's called the accuser. This is Zechariah chapter 3 and verse 1. Let's get that. Let's prove it. And he showed me Joshua the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. So Satan is at the right hand of Joshua, which is symbolic for Israel, resisting you, bringing up all of your charges. Look, they rebelled, they went off, they served false gods, they shed innocent blood, they was bugging out. So he's resisting you before the Most High, like a court case. He's the plaintiff, bringing up, I mean, is that what they call it? Not the plaintiff, the attorney, right? I can't think of the name right now. The legal term for the lawyer who brings up the charges on you, right? Boy, man, I can't. My mind escaped me, right? Let me see if I can go on this real quick. Somebody knows, right? The name for the not the defense attorney, right? But what is that name? Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Prosecutor, there you go, right? The prosecutor, right? Satan is the prosecutor. Yahweh Shah's the defendant, right? Or your advocate, right? He's your defense attorney. So all of your charges, remember, this is the book of law. So when you sin, you go against the law. Satan's job is to prosecute that and be the prosecutor and say, look, he did this, he did that, and did that. Your job is to go and get your lawyer, for lack of better terms, your advocate, Yahweh Shah, and say, hey, look, I need a defense. I need your blood. Yeah, I went off. I did do that. I am wicked. I did go off. Look, can you say something to the judge before me? And Yahweh Shah goes before the Most High, say, look, he repented in my blood. Hey, look, forgive him of that. That's how it works. The Most High is the judge. He's not the judge because, for just to say it. He's the judge because you have ever-ending prosecution coming from Satan, and you have Yahweh Shai, right? Who's the defense? So he's at the right hand of Joshua, accusing you, bringing up these charges, right, to the Most High. Now let's see what happened in the court of law. And the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuked thee, meaning overruled. I hear what you're saying, and they kind of bang that gavel. Overruled. So all of your charges against you, they're overruled. Satan, we don't want to hear it. The Lord rebuked thee, O Satan. Even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuked thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? He said, you want to bring all these charges on Israel? They barely made it out, man. They were almost gone. Show some mercy, some clemency. I'm going to show them peace. I'm going to save them. That's what a righteous judge does. Yeah, I know they went off their wicked, but it's not this the brand plucked out of the fire. Did they barely make it out? You just returned from captivity. Jeez, give them a break. Let them get a chance to get right. It's not this a brand plucked out of the fire. One of Satan's job is to lay these charges on you. Right? Let's get one more. Job chapter 31 and 35. Oh, that one would hear me. Behold, my desire is that the Almighty would answer me, and that my adversary had written a book. What does this mean? Well, you got to think about it. Job is essentially saying, I want to see my charges. Think of this like a man in prison, because Job was in captivity at this time, not under the Egyptians, but really under these spirits that he was dealing with. See that in Job 42. He said, oh, that one would hear me, like a man that's in prison. Let me out. Let me out. I want to talk to the judge. Let me talk to my lawyer. I mean, it happens every day. You have these cries every day. Oh, that one would hear me. Behold, my desire is that the Almighty would answer me. Meaning, I want to talk to the judge. And not just that, it says, and that my adversary had written a book. Meaning, look, I want to see my charges that Satan has on me. Right? That's what this means. Let me see if I can get that in another translation. See if it goes actually into it. Because it's the book that the adversary has is a list of all of your sins. So Job wanted to see his charges. What did I do for my sons and my daughters to die? What did I do to get boils? What are my sins? What did I do for my wife to be against me, man? Just keeping the commandments. I want to see my charges like a man who is locked up innocently. All right, let's go to Job. That's 31. All right, let's actually see if I can get that. Okay, Salakia. Okay, Job 31. And I want to go to 35. Now, they might go into it, right? Let's see. All right. Job 31 and 35. Oh, check this out. Look, NLT. If only someone would listen to me. Look, I will sign my name to my defense. Let the Almighty answer me. Let my accuser write out the charges against me. Right? I want to see my charges. Show me where I went off. ESV. Let the Almighty answer me. Oh, that I had the indictment written by my adversary. What is an indictment? Let's pull this up. So this thing is about, right? Did I spell this right? Right, Salakia. Indictment. A formal charge or accusation of a serious crime. See that? So really, your sins are indictments, but they're written down by the angels. They write it down and they bring it up to the Most High as an indictment. And then the judge sees that indictment and brings the gavel down. And that's why men get judged. Judgment, when they say that's judgment, is because of the indictment. You can't have a judgment without a charge. The charge is being brought by Satan. He did this, she did that, they did that, and you get judged by the Most High. Right? That's how this thing works in a court of law. Everybody knows that, right? We deal with court, we deal with this thing, right? So Satan's job, I mean, he has many-fold offices, and he's not a goat, right? With fawn-like satire creatures, right? His job is to bring out these indictments on you. So watch how you move it. And the Most High is a world, man, because you have a prosecutor who's just looking like these filthy Edomite lawyers, man, who want to throw you under the prison. They want to bring out the whole book against you. They say that. Oh, he's going to bring out the whole book. That's what Satan, he got that book. Look, man, this guy didn't read. And look, he didn't study. Hey, look, that's why you got to repent daily. Because that book is getting filled. I mean, we're wicked. We're off. You got to repent daily because these charges are coming up daily. Satan, he don't care that you're tired. He don't care that you're down and out. He don't care that you're going through hell. He don't care about that. He's the devil, right? That's why we call the so-called white man the devil, because he don't give a damn. Satan's job is to oppress you. See that in Acts 10. That's why, men, you're always getting judged, man. That's why repentance is pivotal. You got to come before Yahweh. You need to get Yahweh shine. He's the advocate who's going to stand up and say, yeah, I see those charges, Most High. Yeah, he's wicked. This guy's wicked. He's somewhere in Chicago. He's just in LA. He's going off. Hey, but look, he repented, right? His blood covers that. And Satan can't say nothing, man. He's going to keep bringing up these charges, though. So stay in the spirit, Israel, right? We're covered. Who's Satan? Who is the adversary? Is it the white man? Yes, it's the white man, but the so-called white man, who's Esau, is an incarnate duplicate, for lack of better terms, of the spiritual demon Satan, who also brings up charges of you on the earth through his wicked, corrupt legal system. There's a legal system in heaven, and you see that legal system on the earth. So with that, I'm going to close up. Giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh. By Hashem Mashiach, Most High willing you were edified. Kwam Yashem. Shalom.